Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Open's virtual speaker series. We hope you and your families are faring well. The world is changing around us every day, but at this time, we have to keep positive views, and hopefully we will. And today, we have a very interesting guest with us, someone I've had the fortune of getting to know over the last several years, a well-known gentleman in the Hollywood scene, a prideful Pakistani, which always helps. I'd like to introduce Mr. Faran Tahir. And today we're going to talk about how COVID is affecting the entertainment industry and what potentially the future looks like. Hi, Faran. Thanks for joining us today. How are you?
Thank you for having me. And after that grand of an introduction, I don't think I can live up to the. So maybe we can stop the podcast right now, and I'll save my save myself the embarrassment. But maybe no, let's go on. But I'm really glad to be here.
Well, thanks, Farhan, for coming with us. You've always been a great supporter of Open, of things in Pakistani in nature. So we really appreciate that and your support. And again, always putting a positive light for our community out in the greater North American diaspora. So in any case, I just wanted to, there's been, and I think you might be a victim of this, but I think I'm getting to the end of Netflix.
I think we all are. I think we all are.
So,
Yeah.
so that whole question arises is, hey, what's going to be going on with content? What are your views and thoughts? What's happening right now? And I know you had mentioned something to me, but it'd be good to get your views on this.
Yeah, I think you touched, although jokingly, getting to the bottom of Netflix, but in this current situation, I think we are going to run into that issue, and I think we are running into that issue because, I mean, as we go forward, and this reality of COVID-19 is, let's be honest, is going to be with us for a little bit, and we have to re-examine, redefine our lives, our realities, our conducts, in whether it's a conduct in how we do business or how we live our personal life. So it's all wrapped up into one. And part of it is that now that we have to be, or we are trying to be responsible and stay home, one of the things that we naturally gravitate towards is content. I mean, you can't just sit around all day. So yes, for the time being, we've been hitting Amazon and Netflix and Hulu hard because that's where the content is. And we've probably gone through all of the reruns or rewatched or re-binged certain content, but eventually it is an issue that content is gonna slowly get less and less available, fresh content.
Right.
And that's a challenge that the industry is facing right now because we know that come September, October, whatever, we will run into this issue of exhausted content. And it becomes not only the focus of how we make a livelihood, but also this responsibility as being in this industry and providing the service of keeping people entertained or intrigued or excited. So it's becoming a huge topic in our circles. How do we do this? How do we do this safely? How do we redefine content so that it still stays lucrative? So those are the discussions that we are having. And the biggest issue that we are having is that in order to produce content, the biggest problem we have is that yes, you can do social distancing with the crew and all of those people, but actors cannot really socially distance themselves. I
Right.
mean, I think it's something that people don't think about as much.
Mm-hmm.
But from our perspective, if I'm in a scene with you in front of the camera, I can't be wearing masks. I have to create that reality so that
Sure.
so that we can tell the story. How do we do that? I mean, what are the next steps? How do we keep everybody safe and yet create content? So those are the discussions that are ongoing, and we're trying to find a way through it. But that also creates business opportunities.
Sure.
And this is not being greedy. This is being smart.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not trying to cash in on other people's misery. It's trying to be innovative. It is trying to take on the challenge, and in that challenge, find the opportunity and best avail it. And and maybe disrupting this business might make some great gains in the end.
Fair enough. You had mentioned something about a project that you'd recently done. I guess it was a filming that had been already scheduled and everything. So how did that all go? Tell us a little bit about that. I found that very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, so as I said, that our challenges have been how to safely create content.
Right.
So a couple of things that we are trying to do, a couple of ideas that are out there right now is how to come up with content that limits physical contact. So come up with stories which organically gives you that freedom and doesn't make it like as if it's being imposed. So one of the things that we're doing is trying to do very small cast films, storylines which can be told through one or two or three actors.
Right.
And one of the things that we are looking into is that what you do is that you test everybody, the crew and the cast,
Mm-hmm.
and then you quarantine together.
Right.
And in that quarantine is when you shoot. So you have limited locations. You put everybody together. You test everybody as frequently as possible.
Right.
And then so you quarantine, you shoot, and then you all quarantine separately for a week or two. So so it adds to the cost of production.
Of course.
But you know what? I mean, yeah. If we make X minus 5, that's what we need to do right now.
Fair enough.
But by doing so, what that also does is that such content can be created faster. So what you can do is that you can have more of that content, and you can compensate for the X minus 5 in one by spreading it out. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay.
So you can make up that difference to some extent. That's one way that we are looking at content. The other way to look at content is another thing that we're doing is trying to do content that we can do the way video games are being done by motion capture, doing it on green screen and then putting each actor into the same scene digitally, in post. So those are the kind of innovative things that we're doing on the inside, and hopefully they will bear fruit eventually.
Oh, that's great. No, that's very interesting, and it's good that there is still some momentum because, like I said, we gotta keep creating, we gotta keep moving. So that's great. That I'm glad to see you're still part of that whole mechanism.
Yeah, and I mean, so what I think the positives that can come out of this is that if somebody was to ask me, I would say that we could, rather than now creating $200 million movies, $300 million movies, I mean, you do smaller budget, smaller movies, interesting content, but more of it, So rather than doing $100 million movies, you bring it, and again, I'm just picking a number, let's say $10 million movies,
Right.
So, so you're doing smaller, so you're not as exposed for one thing,
Right.
and you can recover more quickly. Because the other issue that we're going to run into right now is that the actual theater going is not going to be part of our reality as much.
Fair enough.
I mean, because it's just true. I mean, how are we going to take people to the movie theater, have them sit 6 feet apart, all of that? It's not going to work. So I think the opportunity now comes in investing or focusing on smaller budget content, and also looking at newer platforms. I think that's going to be that's where the focus needs to be. People who are, I guess, investing in this or whatever. I think that would be the place to go, because I think it will change the nature and the mode of delivery of content drastically. Because even when you come out of, like, when we go into post-COVID, some of these things will be baked into our minds and hearts and our ways of life. So I think so there is opportunity that one can avail by looking at how to create content, how to present content, and where to present it.
Very interesting. No, it's great, and it's good to get your perspectives as someone who's a practitioner inside of this world. You know, so many businesses have been affected at an individual layer. So many of us have been affected. I don't think any of us has gone unscathed. So it's great to get your perspective and views. My last question for you, Faran, and this is more of on a personal note, and I you know, I saw a very heartfelt video of you right towards the beginning part of the crisis where, you know, I think you had friends and family in New York that were afflicted by this. And
Right.
I just wanted to, you know, first of all, I wanted to obviously say my heart is with you and the community's heart is with you. You know, I really felt your pain in that video. And what I wanted to ask you is, how have you been contending and coping with all of this, right? How do you keep yourself psychologically up and healthy? Because obviously it has impacted you and us.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, I mean, this the thing that we keep forgetting is that we can look at numbers, you know, and each number is a life. I mean, I don't need to tell you this. We all know that, you know, and I'm not the only one who's affected. There's so many of us. Yes, I lost some really good friends and some people that I really respected,
Right.
whose opinion or their actions have always been an inspiration to me, and they're no more. You know.
Yeah. Sorry for
Uh,
your loss.
well, thank you. You know, and I'm sorry for everyone's loss because we're all in the same boat. So the reason I did that video was partly to show and acknowledge and embrace the fact that this is a pain and this is a time that we're all going through, and we don't need to always be so insulated in our pain and in our worries. I mean, when you share it, you realize that you're not unique in it, but there are other unique people going through something similar, and you can band together. My hope and what I've been trying to do is trying to keep positive by thinking about that. Look, we didn't get here by accident. You know, I mean, this has been a long time coming. We as humans have been given the charge to be the leaders of this globe, of this earth, in a sense, because we have a gift, and that's our biggest strong point, which is we are adaptable. The humans can adapt very quickly to new situations, and that's why we go forward. But in doing so, we forgot what our responsibilities were. So we polluted the earth and the oceans and the skies and blah blah blah. You know, so we have done it. So the thing that I keep thinking about is that what are we going to learn from this, and how are we going to intrinsically and inherently and permanently change or alter some of our behaviors. My biggest fear is that as we get to the other side of it, that we will go to this idea of, you know, let's get the economy running and all that with such vengeance that we will forget the lessons of this very trying time. And I think I personally, the way I'm trying to stay positive is trying to find what I can do to change this calculus, for myself at least. And how can I start working on it today? How can I also be socially responsible, but socially connected, be spiritually responsible, and be spiritually connected? So those are the things that kind of keep me going, you know, and keep self-examination and practice is what I've been focusing on.
Contemplate this, right? Having, I guess, a limited amount of engagements at this point. So, but
Yeah, yeah.
I'm really happy that we were able to have you on and spend this time with you. Always a joy to have you with us and get your insight.
Always so much fun. Yeah.
And I guess at this point it's, hey, Godspeed, good luck with new projects. I hope you can continue to flourish in this new world that's coming. And we really look forward to your next set of projects. Anything you want to reveal? Any cameos at this point, or?
Well, right now, I mean, there are a couple of films that hopefully will come out soon.
Right.
There's a film that we did here called "I'll Meet You There,"
Okay.
which was going to go to South by Southwest, and then
Yes.
COVID happened, and we couldn't. We got good reviews. I mean, hopefully that'll be released, I think, the last quarter of this year now. There's another film that I produced and acted in called The Window, which is in editing right now. So hopefully we can bring that out. So there is stuff that's in the works, and hopefully we can offer it to people, sometime soon in the future.
Awesome. Well, really look forward to seeing you back on the screen, whether it be our small television screen or hopefully in the near future in a large
Let's see.
format, but we'll have to see how that all goes. But thank you very much for taking the time out and being with us today. And I look forward to seeing you again in person.
Thank you, Farouk. Thank you for inviting me. So much fun. Let's do it some other time. And I'll see you soon, sometime face to face, hopefully. 6 feet
Definitely.
apart, yet face to face.
For sure. For sure.
All right, man. All right, brother. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
I just